What's up, light workers? It's your girl Supernova Jazz, and thank you for tuning in to Shift the Culture again here today. We are talking about health and wellness, and the title is What Does Health Got to Do with It? And pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Here, Alora is here. Alora, can you explain to them why it smells so funky today?
Well, we're just here along with my good friend Logan Martinez. And we're just going to be talking a little bit about just mental health. Like, what is mental health? Is it important? Are you aware of yours? You know?
So, first of all, Logan, hello. Logan is an author of his blog called Through the Eyes of an Empath, which throughtheeyesoftheempath.com, right? And he talks about pretty much lifestyle and his story of being transgender. So, what's up? Right, that was a great intro. Was it? So, what's up? You're here. You're from down here in Miami.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm meeting Logan, actually. Like Alora said, this is her friend. They worked at Carnival together. Mm-hmm. And Alora is super drawn to you because you're very, like, to your truth. So, tell us your story. You told me that you were really into religion, and that's crazy because you're transgender. So how did that all come about? Was your family into it as well?
Yeah.
Just you?
No, my family wasn't really into it. At first, we all started going to church together. We went to church for a really long time. My parents stopped going, and I kept going by myself. I would perform on stage. I would sing on stage as well. I always wanted them to be there, but they never really came back. And then I came out to them, and then that's when I stopped going. Yeah. And then when I came back out to them is when they started going back to church again, which was a little ironic. But being in church and being transgender was very hard for me because in my church, I've come to realize that there was more people in church who were judgmental than there was outside of church.
So it made it harder, the process.
Yes, I'm not saying that every church is like that. Every church is different. Everyone has the right to their own opinion. But at least in the church that I grew up in, everyone was very judgmental. And I came to realize that as I grew up and I grew older inside that church, I came to realize that everyone was just there to judge you, or everyone was just there to save themselves.
Yeah.
So it was very hard for me growing up and coming out, and sort of everyone always knew it. Oh, I always knew she was lesbian, or I always knew she was this, or I always knew she was that. So it was very hard growing up and being in church as well because everyone around me didn't believe in who I was or what I was. So I sort of hated myself for a very long time. I would go to church and be like, God, please save me from this. Take me away from this. Take me away from being transgender. Yeah. I don't want to be this. Can you please take this sickness away from me? And that was most of my life. Most of my life, I just hated myself.
You were suppressing who you were.
I was suppressing who I was because of religion. So it was very hard for me growing up and being in religion.
Well, I can definitely understand that because I do feel like I grew up in the church, and I was actually a teacher in the church. I really loved being there because it was just really welcoming until like you do something that really isn't about the church. If it's something that doesn't have to do with the church, then it's like, then you're not a part of the church anymore. And it's just like this hovering. So I think it really started for me is when I like started smoking weed.
Yay.
You know,
so is that why it smells a little funky over here today?
Yeah, we're on that Logan medical marijuana.
Yeah, Logan has his, what is it, a license? What do you even call it?
Yes, it's
a card?
medical marijuana card, yes.
So here in the state of Florida, we do have that right to go, get our medical marijuana card. So as long as you're of the age, you can do that, which is amazing. It's getting better. The laws are becoming a little bit more
they are becoming a little bit relaxed, but it's still a little hard to get the medical marijuana card. They do require you some paperwork in order to get it.
All right, so you got your medical marijuana identification. Was it for mental health? Was it for because to help you transition, or was it for other reasons?
It was for mental health. It was for post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as for insomnia.
Okay.
Because due to my anxiety, I can't sleep.
You can't sleep. Mm-hmm. Wow. And that beats pills, right? Well, why do you feel
opioids.
Like you will
definitely
get a prescription of Xanax? That's what the doctors would give you, right?
Yeah, it's definitely way better than taking medication.
But there are doctors now that are prescribing medical marijuana.
There are doctors that are prescribing medical marijuana, but most doctors, in order to make money, would rather prescribe a Xanax pill or a Percocet pill than to prescribe marijuana.
Yeah.
So it was definitely hard for me growing up and going to psychologists and having a lot of pills given to you that had a lot of side effects as well. Because let's say they gave you a pill for anxiety. The pill for anxiety takes away the anxiety, but doesn't take away your depression or the fact that you wanted to kill yourself. So it makes it worse. So your suicidal thoughts just got worse.
So you were seeing a psychiatrist at what age?
No, it was.
And when did you come out?
I've been seeing psychologists since I was 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
So my parents always saw me as not their perfect child. They always saw me as they wanted that perfect daughter that they were never going to get. So they would take me to psychologists time and time and time again, and each one gave them a different diagnosis as to I only had one diagnosis in this life, and it's me being transgender. So I was practically misdiagnosed for most of my life.
What did they diagnose you with?
I have a lot of things in my book: post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder. I have insomnia disorder. They called me autistic as well as I have anger. There's a long list.
Really?
Of things that I could practically be diagnosed with everything that you could possibly think of. But I'm not that. It was just psychologists that don't really care to do their job. That's why I do believe in therapists, and I do believe in that people can help in you to be better at it, and mental health better. I do believe in mental health and someone helping you, but not everyone is the right person for the job.
Yeah.
So
some people are all about the money.
Yeah, some people are all about the money, and most of the people that I went to were all about the money because my parents always tried to find the best one and the most expensive one to try and help me, and I came to realize that those people weren't out to help me. They were out to make a diagnosis that wasn't there, it wasn't true. So I do have a lot of diagnoses that you would look at them and be like, what the fuck? Like, really? Like, that's you? Like, that's not possible.
And then later you came to terms with,
maybe
I'm not.
Yeah, and then I went to a therapist that actually wanted to help me. A therapist that probably makes almost next to nothing. For a company called Sunserve, an amazing company.
Okay.
And they helped me. I saw a therapist for a really long time there, and that therapist was like you were misdiagnosed for your entire life. The only diagnosis that you have is that you're transgender.
Are they more holistic or is?
They're a LGBT community, so they help everyone who's transgender, gay, or might not have a home, or might not have anywhere to go to. They find you a home for almost next to nothing. They find you a job. They give you a caseworker to help you out. Every single day, the caseworker's on top of you. Did you find a job? Are you doing what you gotta do?
That's amazing. Support.
They helped my mental health a lot, and I came to terms with the fact that the people that were trying to help me were actually people that damaged me even more. And I'm not saying everyone's out there. I'm for it. I'm for you getting help. I'm for you getting help in mental health, but only if that person really wants to help you. Because if that person does not want to help you, they're only going to cause more damage than help. And what pills do is cause more damage than help.
It's kind of like they may not want to help you, or maybe they don't even understand themselves.
Yeah, maybe they don't know how.
They go, doctors go to.
They only know
school. They only know what they're taught.
Yeah, exactly.
That's definitely true, because transgender wasn't a diagnosis until 2 years ago. So being diagnosed as transgender wasn't a diagnosis.
So anything beforehand.
So anything beforehand.
Transgender never existed.
Transgender never existed, exactly. So no psychologist or no one would know about that diagnosis. So even though I might have been that, they misdiagnosed me because they didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So in my eyes, maybe they could have been trying to help, but they didn't know any better because they don't know what a transgender is.
Yeah.
It's more so being ignorant to it, or just not knowing. Not really being ignorant, just more not knowing about the topic, or not knowing what transgender is, or what sexual orientation is, or what sexual identity is.
Yeah, I guess that's another reason why I kind of shied away from going to the doctor so much, because they're very good at misdiagnosing, because they're licensed practitioners. They're practicing, and you're just giving them the license to practice. So whatever they feel like you're saying, okay, due to your expertise, what do you think? But it's just a thought, it's not set in stone. That's why they misdiagnose people all the time.
I think that's crazy too, that it was just 2 years ago. So, because that goes to show you
that's
that
how
maybe
late it's been.
Not only that, but maybe there's something going on now where people are just starting to listen to their mental health. It's more important. If it was more important back in the day, maybe a lot.
I think that everybody was just trying to
up more. It's just that now, because have you met anyone in your community that's resisted themselves more, or feel like I don't want to be gay, or I don't want to be trans, but
Yeah.
With you, it was kind of more like you were like, this is how I feel. It's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna step into who I am.
I mean, not gonna lie, it was really tough for me for a while. You know, I was that person. I was that person that said, I hate myself. I don't want to be transgender. You know, I don't want to be in this community. I don't want to be part of this community because, to be honest, it's not an easy life to live. It's not an easy life to live. To be looked at, to be judged, to be thrown your lunch, to be hit, to be punched, to be physically abused for being who you want to be, you know, to not be able to step into certain countries because you'll be killed for being who you are, you know.
Wow, amazing.
You know, it's definitely, it's not something I want to be, to be honest to you. And it's not because I don't love myself or because I don't value who I am. I do. I love myself. I value who I am. I value who I've come to be. But if I had the opportunity to choose to not be who I am, I wouldn't. Why? Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's because it's not accepted by the majority.
Yeah.
But now if it was more accepted by the majority in X amount of years, 10 years, it'll be easier for young kids to be like, you know what, this is who I am. All right, cool.
It's definitely not easy. It's definitely not something I wish, not even on my worst enemy, you know. It's something hard. It's not something that, like, oh my God, I'm so proud of it. I am proud of myself for getting to where I am, but, you know, it's not something that I wish to be. If I could have been born a man, then I would have chose to be born a man. But, you know, like,
you know how it works.
You know,
we don't get to choose.
It's life. We don't get to choose. You know, I didn't get to choose my cards. They say, you know, it's not about getting the best cards to play. It's about having the cards that you were dealt and playing them right. You know,
playing them the right way.
So that's how it is for me. I got my cards that I was dealt, and I'm just playing them right. You know, I love my life. I love who I've come to be, and I love that I have the opportunity to show other people that life is worth living. You know, we've had a lot of suicides lately, and
it's at the highest it's ever been, actually.
Yeah.
Suicide. I don't know, whether you're straight, gay, it's like people nowadays, something's got to give.
It's just like a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's become something
especially in my community. The suicide rate right now is really high. I've seen a lot of people go by my side because they don't have the appropriate people to talk to, or the right people to talk to, or they don't have anyone to talk to for that matter. Because I know myself, I grew up fighting for myself. I don't have no one. I didn't have mommy or daddy. I didn't have no one to be there for me or no one to fight for me. I grew up on myself. You know, I had to put on my pants and be like, either I sink or I swim. You know, so it's like I've been in group homes, I've been on my own, and I don't want no one to feel like that. I don't ever want anyone to feel that low in their life. So I'm here to help those people who feel low in that moment, to be a voice for those who don't have a voice.
Yeah, see, and I love that because I really, what's the word? I really am proud of how you open your voice up, because that shit's not easy. Like, I know, because like I'm a part of a minority group of people too, you know, like I'm a woman, you know, that's a big minority. They always want us to be a specific way. You know, I'm black. They always want us to be a specific way. You're not popular if you black and you educated. You're not popular if you black and you only popular if you hood. Like if you got you talk funny, or you have something that they can laugh about. If it's entertaining to them, that's when. But if you have something to say and it's important, they're like, shut up. So I understand completely, and I like applaud you. That's the word. On like your standpoint, and like I know that you've like talked to like big groups of people. Like that's crazy. Like about this topic that is so brand new, so fresh. Like you're gonna be part of like a big movement, because like this is still like LGBT community. A lot of people just think it's like gay people, but they still don't understand.
It's like just being weird, period.
Yeah,
being
it is
a queer personality,
because
period.
I feel like
being out of your
when you are
majority.
queer, you just are artistic, and you just like to love people, you know. It's just people are people and what it is, and we're not bound by rules, and that's why you think we're weird, because we're not into your rules. Like we don't need them. So that's why I love like the difference, like how I think we all do that in our separate ways, and like like with you and big girls, you know, it's like such a beautiful like body loving, like I'm big and so what, but so what, like yes, exactly, like that doesn't make me any less than.
That's like the least of my problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Like my shell, my outer being is nothing.
Once you
I'm
start
more worried
doing
about
that,
what's up here, you know, like.
It's such a beautiful thing. I love that.
Sometimes I even like to this day I'm like, am I talking too much? Am I doing the most? Like, you know, like
I'm more self-aware rather
I-
like in my mind, like my mental and the way I'm
Yeah.
thinking rather than like the way I'm appearing to somebody else.
yeah.
Like I don't care about that any longer. You know, it's like those levels that you get to, which
And
is
then you catch yourself. You're like, why am I even questioning myself? This is who I am.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, there you go again, society trying to get back on me. Oh, am I thinking too out of the box? It's like, no, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Think out of the box. The weirdest people,
like, be you.
weird, because that's what queer is.
Yeah.
You're weird, make the most money. The geeks of the generations, the ones that were made fun of in high school, the Bill Gates, they make the most money as adults.
I was watching this guy, Derek. Do you know Derek's last name? O2Y?
Shout out.
Well, we're gonna put his social media up.
Yeah.
Jared,
He's great. He has a lot of kids that he teaches his children at home, and he's more towards homeschooling and being just out of the box thinking, you know, working with money and banking and making sure that like you know the proper tools instead of what society tells you to do, like go this route. There's different ways that you can do that, and he shows you that. He's awesome. I would really recommend you looking into him. But he was talking about a similar thing that you were just saying, and
So this is.
you got it.
O2Y is now like taking a break, showing.
He has his daughter on this. Okay.
I'm on the screen, don't mind.
Okay, I can show you.
Derek Grace Tribe, like he literally like his
Grace.
kids are just
Derek Grace.
gonna be on a different level. of
Yeah.
thinking.
It's like
because he's able to like tell them to like think further past all this bullshit that they try to construct us to be.
Yeah.
The boxes, the labels, and all that shit. You know, it's just like they want to give us what they want to give us. And it's like, yo, I'm not on camera right now.
It's like the true definition of health and wellness is just.
So he's more interested in like really just homeschooling your children about what they need rather than what society is telling them.
And
that
he's
they
all
need.
tatted up.
And he's just talking about like society and how they're like, well, we don't want to homeschool our kids because it'll make them feel like not social, like they won't be social. But Jasmine was just saying, well, the richest people were not social. They're
The
not.
richest people are
they're
themselves.
the weird ones. Yes, if
They're
you want,
weird.
if they want to be intricate in something, if you want your child to be good at something, let them do what they love to do, regardless.
Just being queer and curious.
If they want to make friends, they'll make friends, and they'll
Generally.
make friends outside of school. When you homeschool, you can have them in other activities. That's the beautiful thing about homeschooling. But it gives it a good opinion about like why it's not necessary for your child to go to public school, because it's definitely something that people. It goes back to episode 1. If you haven't seen episode 1, so make sure you tune in. Yes, education. Making sure that we're not just focusing education in the school, but education all around, you know? So I think that that's a really cool thing that he focuses on a different type of education.
But you know what, Allure? It's like everybody does kind of lose themselves and goes down an unhealthy route some way or another. It's like you gotta kind of have to
find
right?
out where you're going.
So let me ask
gotta
you,
get lost to
Logan,
find
is
your way. You're right.
what was the first step to getting into that healthy lifestyle? What did you start writing? Did you start talking to people? Like, what did you do? What was your first outlet?
Well, my first outlet has always been writing. I've written since I could think for myself, since I was 5 years old. I've written on notebooks what I feel. You know, I've never been that kind of person. I've always been that weird person to not talk to anyone or not really
So you
face
picked
anyone.
up the pen.
You know, so I picked up the pen. I always had my earphones on. I was always that kid that had the earphones on and listened to music. And I picked up the pen and I just started writing my life away. Writing was my outlet to feel better, to be okay, to know that I was here. You know. And I loved writing. I never really showed my writing to anyone until recently. But yeah, that was always my outlet to
It's
be
your legacy,
better.
really.
Yeah, it's what
What you're leaving behind.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's what I leave behind. It's what helped me through my hard times. And like you said, you sort of have to lose yourself in order to become someone. You sort of had to be in that cocoon and go through hell for a while, and then you come out being that butterfly, you know.
Yeah, so true. It's like, if you think about it, it's like why we're here. Like, why are we here? Because it's like everyone says it's already written, it's already set in stone. So you were really kind of sent here to remember again.
Yeah.
to remember who you are. You have to go through the trials and the tribulations and, you know, like the addictions, the toxic relationships. Like for me, like maybe that's why I'm a self-love advocate, because there was a time I didn't love myself and I was just searching in love through other people.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I definitely feel that.
I was like, I don't know what love is. Can you show me? And of course, it's not love. But then I'm like, all right, this is a definition. This is what love is. When if you think about it, it's so easy to love. Like right now, like I can tune into that frequency. I'm like, I love my friend Alora. That's the frequency. But like loving a type of like when you're trying to like search for it.
I think, yeah, when you start searching for it outside, like I know that when I started loving myself more, that's when I started loving everybody else more.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, that's definitely true. I do believe in that. You gotta first love yourself
Because
in order to love someone else.
you be mad as I don't know what about something, but like when you really truly love that person, it doesn't even matter. It's like
Yeah, that's true. I definitely did go through that with.
you never think about
recent ex.
the bad times once a person's gone. You only think about the good times.
That's true.
Yeah. And if you think about, you always project what you're going through. So
You do.
If you're a loving
It's a mirror.
person,
It's a reflection. She right.
you project love. All this talk about health.
It's food that we drink.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so juicy. For us.
Some of the parts are like wetter than others. You have to eat this part.
Tell me when you start taping again. Yeah.
We're eating watermelon on.
Okay. We're kind of light in the joint again here. For those tuning in, if you hear a little pause.
Drink your water.
Yeah, we're drinking. You know, we're hydrating. We're medicating right now. We're getting healthy.
Should have mangoes.
What?
And actually, mangoes make you high.
Really?
Like how citrus makes
I did hear that. I did hear that.
citrus and like mangoes. I don't know, they make you high.
Yeah. They
So if you know why, go ahead and leave that in the comments. Comment that below. If you're watching on the tube,
because
and if
mangoes
you're
are amazing, and so is
if you're tuning into the podcast,
Leave a fruit if you're eating your fruits.
yeah, leave your favorite fruit emoji.
yeah.
We're eating a fruit cup. We talk about fruit cup life and proud. You know what's so funny? Does anything ever offend you? Like any like
Those type of
racial slurs? Because like when people try to throw racial slurs at me, I'm like, that shit does not offend me. Like I know who I am.
So if someone calls you a spick,
I'd be like, what does that even mean?
If somebody called me a nigger, I would be highly offended.
I think there are
Sorry.
certain words that have that kind
Sorry,
of.
I would be highly upset. I would just be like, catch me outside.
How about that?
How about that?
How about it? No,
So-
but I don't believe anyone would do that. I don't know.
you don't know.
You never know. You
I'm
know,
a
you never
pastor,
know.
yeah.
I live in a beautiful area, like Jasmine said. We live in a beautiful area where we're able to express ourselves.
Shout
I
out
do
South
know
Florida.
I do know that there
We're
are
warmer right now.
places that I could not go in my own country that I would not feel safe.
So don't take life for granted.
Yeah, seriously. Just appreciate it. Appreciate what you don't have to deal with.
This is some guerrilla warfare
That's
footage on
yeah,
right now.
right? With this
Can
watermelon.
you imagine all those that are in Syria right now that are gay and that are trans? And it's like not only do they have that obstacle, but they have the obstacle of just fighting for their life in general with everybody else.
Yeah, in other countries, minorities are really.
It's like if
that
you
they
have
get
your
taken.
safety, feel grateful that you have that, and just try to
Definitely.
step into yourself.
If
Maybe
you-
that should. I always think about that whenever I doubt myself. I'm like, listen, I live in a place, safe, colorful. Just be yourself. You know, 'cause there's a lot of people that can't. Thank you, O2Y.
Oh,
This is some premium Follicle Life service.
I'm also a PA.
Hey. All right.
Jobs for everyone.
I'm done eating watermelon, yo. Let's get back into this.
yeah.
But yeah, a part of health for sure is definitely loving yourself because
And just exploring who you are. Like, because you can love yourself, but people are like, what's that mean? So, like...
So then they try to go find it elsewhere. Like I was saying, so I was dating someone, and it was like during a very hard time in my life. I was going through a lot of family issues, so I didn't really have a boyfriend beforehand. I was like, how old? I was like 18. So it was whatever. Things were cool, but then we were partying, whatever, you know, like you do a little something here, there, but like always for me, the party was always over after it was over, right? He was dabbling into like drugs and like lying and manipulating, and it's like, I didn't love myself enough to like kind of be like, okay, I don't need you like the first time. It had to have been the 100th time. And after it was the 100th time, I was like, why am I, this is my fault now because he keeps doing it. He keeps showing me who he is. That's like the quote Maya Angelou says, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. They know themselves better than you do. So that's when I like let him go, and I was like, okay, yeah, there's something obviously wrong. I need to dive deep and see. The only reason I was going through that situation with that relationship is because I wasn't doing something about that. So like during your hard time or finding yourself, did you cling on to any relationships that maybe were like not good for you?
It was kind of the opposite for me.
Okay.
So in my case, I was the person doing wrong. So because I didn't love myself, I can't love someone else. So I had a lot of toxic behaviors that I was taught to me as a child. So my parents aren't the greatest. My dad would always treat my mom inadequately. You know, I was taught a lot of toxic things that I saw growing up that I thought were right, but actually weren't. So I had to uninscribe things that were taught to me. I had to unteach things to me that were taught to me. So when I was in a relationship with my most recent ex, I treated her very bad. I started doing drugs. She took me back time and time again because at the end of the day, she did know.
You were projecting how you were feeling onto
Yeah,
her.
she did know that I was a good person. She just knew that I was in a very bad place in my life. So I was doing drugs. She would pick me up from the streets while I was drugged up. She would always try to feed me every night. She was always there. She never left, and I treated her very and she kept coming back to me time and time again. Despite me treating her so badly, it's just I didn't love myself enough, and I didn't value my life enough. And for me, it was I wanted my parents to love me, even if it meant sacrificing who I was.
Right.
So that's essentially what I was doing. I was sacrificing who I was in order for my parents to love me. And I also sacrificed a good person at heart as well, because she didn't deserve what I did to her. But because I didn't love myself, I didn't have the mental health, I treated her very badly. My mistakes, that's something that a lot of people have to learn, that your mistakes don't define who you are.
Your
Yes.
circumstances.
Yes.
What defines
Where
who
you are
is
in
what-
life does not define you.
Yeah, what defines you in life is what you do after you make that mistake.
Precisely.
So because you made that mistake doesn't make you a bad person, but if you learn how to change it and you become a better person, then okay, that's what identifies you. But if you keep doing the same mistake over and over again, then
That's
So
what
you're-
you're going to be.
that's what you're gonna be.
In a loop.
Yeah, and I love how you said you had to find that you had to unteach yourself what was being taught to you.
That's funny. Derek says that.
Because
Yeah.
Unteach and then relearn.
Yeah, because the thing is that, like I said, I grew up in a very toxic home. I grew up in a place where it's be who I want you to be or get the hell out of my house. So I grew up in that environment. So I grew up watching how toxic my father was to my brother. I grew up watching how everything around me was so toxic. So I learned a lot of things that I realized were toxic. But I feel like just because you have toxic behaviors doesn't mean that you're a bad person. But it's realizing that you have those toxic behaviors and wanting to become
reason.
better. For a
Yeah.
reason, and wanting to become better and wanting to change and doing the actions to want to change and taking the steps to change
It's like
is
that's
what
your
makes
cue.
you that person.
When
a
you
good
start the
person, yeah.
toxic habits, when it starts to become a cycle, it's like that's your cue to start diving deep. Okay, now why am I being like this?
Yeah.
Oh, because whatever was taught to me or inflicted on me at home. Okay, now think about it. Why are they acting like that? Because whatever was taught to them and inflicted it with them at home. And it's just a cycle. And it's also being aware that, okay, now let's cut the bullshit and let's cut the cycle. And how do you do that? By you starting with yourself.
Definitely true.
Yep.
Starting
Yeah,
with
that's
yourself.
definitely true because if
Michael
you don't,
Jackson said it best.
Yep, that's true. If you don't love yourself, there's no way impossible you can be in a relationship or love someone else, and I'm saying that from experience, you know.
So do you love yourself a lot more now?
I definitely do love myself a lot more. I've learned to love myself. I've learned to accept the things that I cannot change, because that's one of the things that is hard for me to accept. Things changes.
That is so true.
You know, to accept that things are just the way that they are. You know, like I said, you are dealt the cards that you're dealt, and you have to play them right. You know. And that's it for me, you know. I wish that I could change the things that I did in the past. I wish that I could change the things that I did with my ex, but I can't. The only thing that I can do is show that person that I'm a better person, or show the people that I hurt that I'm not that person anymore, that I changed, that I became better, that because of marijuana, it did help a lot. I became a better person. I changed. I was able to look at things from a different perspective and realize what I was doing wrong, you know. But it took a lot of self-healing. It took a lot of mental health. It took a lot of looking inside myself and rearranging things that I realized weren't right to become who I am now. And I'm still not right. There's still things that I have to change. There's still things, you know, you will grow for the rest of your life until you're dead. Every day you grow, every day is a different day. You are better than who you were yesterday, you know, and that's the only thing. You have one life to live. You can either sink or swim. You can either live it unhappy or live it happy, you know. You're not granted two lives, and if you want to live bitter and live unhappy, then that's up to you. But that's
breaking that cycle.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. It's like, if you think about it, you're holding on to these toxic relationships. You're like, I love this person, but it's like, if you really love them and they're acting like that, you will let them go.
That's what I was just about to say. Yes, amen.
You will let them go, because my mom always told me that.
Love them, you want to see them grow with or without you.
Because they also are going to learn something from this situation.
Yes.
Yeah,
sometimes you have to let them fall. And that's the best lesson to learn.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, I mean, like I said, I was the person that did the wrong in this case in my relationship, and she did let me go. At one point, she said, "That was it. You've hurt me enough. You've done enough." You know, and I'm not.
It's
that
like,
person.
I love you, but I'm gonna send you
more.
out for you to go find yourself.
And she had
you're hurting me.
Yeah, exactly. And she had every right.
Like,
you know,
but
that's a good thing though. I'm glad she did, because that's why I changed. I changed. I owe, and I'm not lying about this. I owe everything that I am and who I am right now to her, and I can't deny that, because if it wasn't for her saying, "Get out of my face, like, you're hurting me, look what you're doing, you're being abusive, you know, you're emotionally abusing me," and she was right. I was like, a lot of toxic behaviors that I learned, a lot of things.
And see, you wouldn't have come to terms with that if you guys didn't separate.
Exactly, like the self-hatred that I had for myself, it wouldn't have been. She was the one that took me to that place. This took me to Sunserve, the one that pushed me to go. No, you need help. You need help. You know, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be who I am right now. If it wasn't for her telling me, like, you're a piece of shit, like, I wouldn't be who I am. Like, sometimes you need people to get in your face and be like, you're a piece of crap, man. Like, you're a piece of shit. You need to change.
Like, I'm telling you this with love, but get over yourself.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for that, like, I feel like...
Yeah, those are the real ones, but they're so rare and far between.
That's true, they're rare.
So, people, when you have friends like that, just know those are the real friends.
Make sure you keep them around.
Double check.
That's
Like, don't get mad at people just because they're telling you about their truth.
Hit the joint. They're like, my turn. I want to hit it. Look, you know the mom is sending the little duckies over here. She knows what she's doing. She's like, okay, go over there. You're going to look cute for a second. And you're going to give mama what she needs. So funny. But, yeah, it's like, what's health got to do with it? Every fucking thing.
Everything.
Yeah, relationships with friends,
relationships.
Like,
Everything.
self-love has to do with loving yourself and being whole. If you don't love yourself and you're not whole, you can possibly have friendships or a relationship.
If your cup is not full, you can't pour into somebody
Yeah,
else's
that's true.
cup. You leave your cup empty.
That's why Alora feels so attracted to me, and so her energy is attracted to mine, because of the fact that we understand each other and we know that our energies are full, or whole, or light, you know. Because like I personally, when I stand next to someone, I feel their energy. I feel what they feel inside. You know, there's this thing.
It's being an
you know,
empath.
when you step next to someone, you feel like, you know, that they're good or they're bad. You know, I give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm not gonna lie about that. I know. I feel
but not
it.
much benefit.
I feel it. I know there's something wrong, but I give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm just waiting for it to come. I'm like,
that's being
when is
love.
it coming? When is it coming? What is it gonna do wrong? You know, and then I realize it later, and then I realize I gotta let them go, because it doesn't go with my energy. You know, I need energies that are light. I don't need things that are dragging me down or pushing me down. I need energies that are light next to me. I need energies that
everybody's in a different season. You know, like I said, we were in all light at one time.
No,
you
we were
know,
not.
we sometimes we dimmed out, we turned off our light, we turned that switch right back on. But it's also knowing like, okay, homie, you're in that
Definitely.
season. You're in a different season than me. We'll link up later. You know?
No, or just
Or
like
maybe we might not link up at all. But
I mean, if you
Yeah,
need my,
or you
if
were the lesson. I thank you.
We all have
I
our dark
appreciate
days. We
you.
all have our days that is bad. You know, I'm still here for you in your dark days. I'm not your friend where I'm only here where it's light and not when it's dark. You know, I'm here when it's dark too. But it's knowing when it gets to a point when it gets toxic. And when it gets toxic, there's no saving that. You know, it's knowing when you gotta walk away. It's knowing when there's a person is so hurt and so damaged by everything that's happened to them that they're a little bit toxic. So, you know, you gotta let them heal themselves and you gotta let them love themselves before you can be together. It doesn't mean that you're not there for them. You can be there for them, but doesn't mean that you gotta be every day together, every day talking to this person. Because for me personally, being around someone whose energy is not as bright or whose energy is a little dark can feel a little draining for me.
yeah, because energy transfers no matter what. So if
Excuse
you're
me.
around someone all the time and they're being negative and they're inflicting their toxic feelings on you, you gotta either know how to peace out or shed light on it. You know? But okay, so you're writing your blog. Tell everyone where to find it.
Alright, so it's gonna be eyesofananempath.com. You can also follow me on Instagram on
And being
Logan.
an empath is what again?
Being an empath is being able to sit next to someone and being able to feel what they feel, being able to feel what they feel on the inside. It's like empathy, but a little bit stronger. You know, I could feel people's energies, feel people's what they feel inside a little bit more than your average person. So I might take things a little bit more strongly than others might, or I might feel
Your
things a
heart
little bit
chakra
more
is
strongly than others might. So that's essentially what being an empath is. So I kind of want to show people what life is through my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, I want to help people who need help. I want to be a voice for those who don't have a voice. I want to be a voice for those who might need help. So if you want to take a look, you might need some help, you're having a bad day, take a look at my website. It could help your day make it a little brighter. It's eyesofananempath.com. Follow me on Instagram as well at Logi, LOGI0128. Yep.
And your girl here, Supernova Jazz. Just to update you guys, we are on 11 platforms. YouTube. We're now on Apple Podcasts. Let me see. What's the deal? What's the deal? We're on Anchor. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Stitcher. Let me catch my breath there. So we're everywhere. We're here. We're Adore. We're a conscious collective. So stay grateful, stay present, and I'll see you guys next time. And feel free to leave any comments below. And what does health gotta do with your situation? Talk to us. All right, peace out.
Peace.